So wanted to bring you a rare moment of us agreeing with Nicolle Wallace,
we're not going to hear that every day.
Spokesperson for George W. Bush, who had a pretty interesting commentary after listening to President Biden's speech on the Afghanistan withdrawal. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
95% of the American people will agree with everything he just said. 95% of the press covering this White House will disagree. And for an American president to finally be completely aligned with such an overwhelming majority of what the American people think about Afghanistan is probably a tremendous relief to the American people.
So she gets a really critical dynamic there. And is it 95%? No, it's not 95%. She's clearly overstating the case. But the fundamental dynamic that she points to there is very real and very important, which is the utter and complete disconnect from the elite media bipartisan consensus around Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan and the way that actual Americans really feel and are going to feel and how they may treat it ultimately politically.
Yeah, no, that's right. And, you know, it really is, it's so funny because it's the rarest moment of honesty. And I was saying in yesterday's show that one of the things that galled me is that during the Afghan crisis, you would see Dana Perino on one channel anchoring Fox News and Nicolle Wallace, two press secretaries of George W. Bush, who lied to the American people about the very war that they are then covering. And yet she somehow, finally maybe, admits the truth. Yes, most people will support this withdrawal. Now, look, there's a lot of polls out there, snapshot polls. 73% disapprove of the way that they handled. Then the Politico poll that I saw just out this morning, it says now only 49% support the withdrawal. Look, one day snapshot poll, I don't believe a goddamn thing. But really what it is ask me 3 weeks from now. Ask me a month from now. Ask me a month from now whether the majority of people are not going to line up for it. Will it still be 75, 25? Probably not. The reality is always going to change the way it works. Do I still expect it to be the overwhelming? Yeah. And people who reverse on this, they're mostly just cultural warriors who are doing it because Biden's doing it and not Trump.
Yeah.
And I think that at the end of the day, most people will be goddamn relieved that we are the hell out of Afghanistan a month from now.
There's definitely a partisan effect that we're seeing right now.
Well, we see it everywhere.
It was the case. Part of why this position was so popular is because both Democrats and Republican leaders, Trump and Biden, were both supporting getting out. Now Trump has reversed his position.
Yes.
And now is, I guess, all in on the forever wars. So that's going to lead to a partisan effect that's going to reduce support for withdrawal, actually. But also just to zoom out, like, all the media knows how to do is to fixate on, like, who does this benefit, Trump or Biden? Like, all they know how to do is horse race and polling, which this issue after 20 years, like, there's so much more going on here and so much more of a important conversation about what's right and what's wrong and what the path forward looks like in either alternative, us staying or us going. But it's so much easier for them to, like, somehow turn this into a Trump v. Biden story. So that's kind of what they fixate on here. I have no idea how the politics are ultimately going to play out. No clue. And I certainly don't think any of these people know how it's ultimately going to play out. But Nicolle Wallace's key insight there, that there is a real disconnect between how regular people are processing this news and the way that it's being portrayed in this, like, unanimous consensus type of way, I think is a really important one. And it's one that we've seen play out time and time and time again. You know, one thing I'm reminded of in terms of how opinion polling can move very rapidly is back during the Great Recession, another Biden actually led initiative, the auto bailout, was really unpopular.
Oh, yeah.
It was dramatically unpopular in public polling before it actually was done. And Obama and Biden, this is one of the things that was, I think, to their greatest credit, went ahead with it and saved those jobs and, made sure that the American manufacturers, automakers were able to continue operation. Ultimately, that turned around to be so popular that it was one of the key slogans.
Yeah, it's sunk.
Remember, it was
Bin Laden's dead,
GM's alive, which Biden came up with, by the way. That was one of the key slogans that helped win them the White House. So these things can change pretty quickly. Right now, there is a massive media onslaught telling everyone, filled with propaganda, that you should think that what just happened is terrible and that it was a disaster. For putting aside that the last 20 years were a complete disaster, they don't talk about that part.
Yeah,
it's the here and the now that they're concerned about being a disaster. So look, that's a powerful thing. That media propaganda is a powerful thing, but it'll be interesting to see how it wears over time.
Here's what I would guess: 55-45 at the end of the day. I think 45 will stick with the partisan thing, be like, oh, it was a disaster, all of that. I think the independents will generally move to Biden over a long period of time. So my bet, 55-45. If I'm dead wrong, tweet at me in the next couple of months. Maybe it's 70-30 the other way. I have no idea. I personally would be shocked, though. And I actually still wouldn't change my position on it. So
no, because some things are right. And that's pretty much the bottom line there and not poll dependent. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll have more for you back here tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.